it's a happy 2022, and welcome to this month's episode of The Breeze. New year, new beginnings. And perhaps it's good that 2021's over. I don't know your circumstance, but good riddance for me. And let's talk about 2022. This year, I think we ought to focus on well-being. And that's pretty nebulous comment. What does well-being mean to you, Margie?
That all is well with my world.
Okay, short and sweet.
I think it's a mindset to carry throughout the year. I think it's something that I need to work on and define what that means to me, but I think that's going to be critical.
Okay, and why is it critical this year as opposed to other years?
I think because I'm getting younger, and I think it's more important that I have a good quality of life. And I think I need to be accountable for what that is and what that means.
Okay. And where do you get started, Margie? I mean, first let's define what you consider to be well-being rather than just a terse description.
Well-being is like everything is well in every aspect.
Okay.
That might sound unattainable, but if we have a good grasp on our health, our activities, ourselves, what motivates us, our health, our food choices, exercise, all that, we can achieve a greater well-being than just, oh, I'm okay today.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I think you can categorize some characteristics of well-being, and your emotional well-being, your mental health as well as your physical health.
Yes.
Certainly your social well-being. Right?
Yes.
And in that category, how you react to a given situation. Perhaps in 21, there were things that you had an opportunity to respond to differently or to take a different direction, and you didn't. Mm-hmm. And you're upset with yourself about it. But now you have a new beginning, if you will, a chance to make a difference.
Well, I think we've talked in the past about how important friendships are and how important social interaction is. And that's one of the reasons why I'll never be on Facebook, as you know, because I don't believe that's social or interactive. But how important is that to you, Margie, to have that social aspect in your life and have that going well?
I think it's really important, whether that be social activity with family or neighbors or things we do here in Sun City. I just think it kind of plays into our identity and who we are. And we're pleased doing it, or we shouldn't be in that area. Mm-hmm. But it does mean that you meet people and that you're not a hermit and you don't try to hide away from anyone.
And I know, Tina, that you get out and about. You do a lot of things outside the gates, and you mentioned earlier today you go to the farmers market every Thursday, and you have a series of friends down there that you've developed.
Yeah.
So that's important to you as well. And the opposite is, if you're not out there and you're not interacting socially, you become reclusive, maybe antisocial even, and maybe even a little bitter about your situation, unless you got that support.
To me, people who do that, they're waiting for the end. I mean, why? Mm-hmm. There's so much beauty out there, and every day I thank the Lord for the beauty that surrounds us, and if I don't take advantage of it, poor me. Mm-hmm. It's my fault. Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that's right, but I think you have to make, in some cases, a conscious decision.
Absolutely.
It's not just an unconscious one. You got to really be proactive and get out there.
Absolutely.
And do something just to be with people, in addition to the social well-being. Physical well-being. We all know that we're here at Sun City to be active.
Active, yeah.
Or at least that's what we thought when we got here.
Yeah.
And sometimes I get a little lazy. And
that's okay. You're entitled.
Well,
You're retired.
Yeah, I know that. I'm entitled, but I feel better when I do something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And when I looked along the 5 major types of well-being, one is physical well-being, the ability to improve the functioning of your body through healthy living and good exercise habits. That kind of flew right in my face. And if I decide to take this on, this path toward well-being, that has got to be my first one.
Okay.
And I need to overcome and struggle with that a little bit and get better at it. I think I think I'm part of all these other major things, but not to the extent. So that would be my priority.
Well, I think it's fair to say, and I'll just use myself as an example, that when I'm not physically active, I'm tired, I'm a little more likely to be grumpy,
Or curmudgeon.
curmudgeon, my joints ache, my head hurts, I mean, all of that goes along with being a certain age. But, you know, once you get physically active, it becomes a habit, Margie. It only takes about 7 repetitions to have a lifelong habit.
Like over
I
a
didn't know
year
that.
or over
over a lifetime. No, not 7 times over a year.
Okay. Like soon.
But you know, you hit on something that just got my attention. You said you have some different areas, and I'd like to hear more about that. But I also, rather than being overwhelmed by it, it sounds like I probably should adapt it in stages. You know, that maybe in January, then I'm going to pay more attention to the physical and think about what that means to me. And then I don't know what the others are, but that maybe that might be a way to take that challenge.
Well, you're active in several things. Maybe you need to step it up a little. Who knows? But you know, there's the other areas in which you need to be proactive. Is the experts say that you need to learn a new skill, or just learn generally.
That's not on my list.
Well, I'm telling you that would be very helpful for everyone.
Yes, I
That
agree.
increase your mental health and give you a sense of achieving a goal, of feeling in control, maybe, something like that. And so, what are you going to learn? What skill are you going to learn this year, Tina?
I was just thinking
Tact?
about what you said.
Work on your tact.
I'm not going to school.
Okay.
I think I'm tactful.
Oh, okay.
I'm direct.
Okay.
You know,
okay.
I try
Kidding.
to diplomatic, you know, but I don't know. I try to learn something every day in a kind of subtle way, but I don't know, maybe take an OLLI class. Then again, I looked at some of the classes and they weren't of interest, so I'm not sure.
Okay.
Or you could look into that.
I know you're not a joiner necessarily, but you could learn a new skill like woodworking.
Cooking.
Cooking would be good, yeah. How about you, Margie? What are you going to learn that's new this year?
Well, I'm going to.
Not to talk to me, right?
Well, I just hope to get myself under control. When it comes to
Boy, this is out of control.
the right eating plan or the exercise, there are so many excuses for not going out and exercise, even if it's, you know, walking through several blocks, and we have that capability here. Because I know that affects a lot of other things. It can help with depression. It can certainly help with your health if you accompany it with the right foods. You know, there's no point in saying, I'm going to go walk 3 times today because I think it'll kind of slim me down. And then after each walk, I come home and take out the peanut butter cookies. You know, really though, I mean, like, you know, reward.
You just have to walk
sounding like I'm
further,
really
that's
a bad
all.
case here. But looking at this, you know, it kind of reminded me of a New Year's resolution. Okay, next year I'm going to do this. But if I look at it as not a resolution, because that can become punishing after a while.
Well, it's also less likely to be adhered to.
Yes.
Right.
So if I look at it as I need to pay attention to my well-being, one category at a time if needed, and I can assess, okay, how's my social well-being? I think that's okay. So I won't concentrate on that. I don't have a workplace well-being. So it's between social, physical, and emotional. So I just need to pick one of those and say, this for the first quarter of 2022 is going to be my project for me. No resolution.
Well, I think also your emotional well-being will improve astronomically as your physical and well-being improves.
They're in tandem.
I think that's right. And there was a good example in some of the notes I read that you're like a car. I mean, if the engine's purring and everything, the air conditioning works, but the brakes don't, you got nothing. You don't have well-being of the car.
Right.
Well, think of all these categories that we're talking about: social, physical, mental, emotional, as parts of a car. They all got to be running in order for it to be a complete deal.
Yeah.
Another aspect of, for me anyway, is giving to others.
Mm-hmm.
Giving to others will increase your own feelings about yourself.
Now, giving doesn't have to be financial. It could be just
Correct.
the emotional outreach and recognizing when someone is in need. Maybe they just need a friend. And in fact, I'm doing that this Saturday. A friend of mine who's been very helpful to me, he's like my younger brother. He's like 30, so we won't talk about the age difference. But anyway, his wife lends him to me, and he comes over and he does little things for me. So I reached out to him. He's an EMT, and he said, "How did you know that I needed a friend?" So Saturday we're going to go over to one of the local restaurants and have some lunch and talk.
Okay.
Very good.
Well, yeah, you're right. Giving to others is not just, here's a $10.
Yeah.
Take a walk.
Yeah.
But it's also, and we've talked about this extensively, it's volunteering your time to mentor someone, to be involved in a charitable situation, or to assist someone with a project that, you're just being there for them.
Yeah.
And that adds to your own feelings of comfort and happiness.
In fact, Margie and I had talked about becoming a part of the feral outreach, helping with the kitty cats, because I miss my kitty cats. And we said that would be one way of giving and getting that satisfaction of the fur babies. So that's part of our plan this year.
Well, go do it.
We are.
We are.
Okay.
We'll call Monday.
And the last thing I'll bring up is that part of being well-being, in my mind, is living in the present. Being mindful that this is all that we've got is the present, and not putting off or delaying your physical activity, but being mindful of the fact that you are working on your well-being. Let's work on it, and let's be happy and fulfilled when things are going well, but don't be forgetful that what got you there.
It's very difficult sometimes to live in the moment, and I have to remind myself constantly that put the phone down. You don't have to take that picture. Just take the picture with your eyes. And I've gone to events where I said, "Oh, gee, I didn't get a picture," but I sure as hell enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So you're right there in the moment, and you're not on your electronics, and you're not distracted. You're just in the moment, and that leads to a comfortable feeling, a healthy feeling, and a happy feeling.
Yeah.
But we, as usual, we started off the new year by going out on the streets, talking to some of the residents of Sun City about their feelings or not of well-being and what they're going to do to achieve it. Let's take a look. Rosemarie, what is your description of a state of well-being?
I think of being healthy and happy and giving to others. And I think that's people are the ones that make us healthy and happy.
And tell me, what are you doing personally to achieve your definition of well-being?
I have a lot of energy. I don't take any medicine. I just take calcium pill. And I have a garden, and that makes me very happy. And I like sharing what I have from my garden. And every day, I just think it's a blessing. And the people here, I've been here 13 years, and the people here really lift you up a lot.
Thank you for your time.
You're very welcome. Thank you. I never imagined to be doing this, too.
You're a
It was
TV
a great
star
day.
now.
Okay. The question is well-being for 2022. What do you plan as a part of your well-being strategy for 2022?
My well-being would be to find more friends in my circle of life. Every day in this community, there's so many opportunities to meet such wonderful, interesting people. So that's my well-being for 2022.
And you?
I also second that, except I also want to include being healthy and spending more time thinking about what I eat and taking vitamins and eating healthy food and exercising. And I think well-being is something that you have to think about yourself and how you feel, your health.
Okay, well, good day. We're going to do about wellness is the issue today.
Well, we're going to talk about 2022 and well-being.
Well-being, all right.
Right. And what are your thoughts for 2022?
Well, very hopeful, very hopeful. It's a good point to try and keep moving. That's the thought for 22. Keep moving, stay mobile, stay active. The more you are, the longer it'll last.
Now, do you have specific plans for 22, or are you just going to be just going with the flow?
I'm keeping on doing what I'm doing now, which seems to be working quite well, so I'm sticking with it. We've gotten this far without being too radical about anything, and that's the way to continue.
Well, thank you very much.
My pleasure. Best to everyone.
Well, Elaine, what does well-being mean to you?
Well-being to me means taking care of your total self. That means mentally, physically, and spiritually.
Well, that's very sweet, but what are you doing in 2022 to make sure you are
right.
the best version of yourself?
So I believe in volunteering and being a member of the Avant-Gardener Club board. I think volunteering on the board keeps me engaged, and I'm surrounded with friends and with good gardening topics. To physically keep me well-being, I'm in the garden. Where else can you be except to renew yourself outside? And that's a lot of good physical activity also.
That's perfect. Thank you very much. Well, those were some interesting responses, and a lot of thought went into that. But taking all this into consideration now, where you've got your categories of well-being, what is the overall takeaway from that, Margie? How would you know that you were in a pretty good sense of well-being?
I think that certain feelings I have or challenges I have would be less. I'd suddenly say one day, wow, I don't do that anymore.
Okay.
You know, I'm more attentive. I'm listening. I'm accepting what my imperfections are. 'Cause it's not to become a perfect person in all these. It's to acknowledge them and then hopefully somehow work with them where you're more comfortable.
Okay.
I think for me, it's going to be that core feeling of joy and sense of accomplishment, because I think we have to really sit and listen to ourselves and take the time to reflect.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't reflect on the day or the month or what have you. And also, one of the things that I want to work on is how I react to situations that I can't control.
Right. I mean, that's where I come down on it too, is, learning to live with the things that you can't control. And being in a sense of your own well-being, it gives you a lot more resources to meet the challenges. The challenges don't get less as you get older. They increase. And how you manage those challenges is an indicator or an indication of how your well-being is. In other words, if you just give up, or you say, oh, this is a disaster, I'll never get over this. I mean, you face it. Life basically is a series of challenges from birth to death.
Yes.
And if you are feeling well, then you feel more in control. You feel more able to meet those challenges.
Definitely, definitely.
So anyway, that's sort of the way I look at it, is that, you know, you achieve some goals, you feel good about that, you feel in control, mostly. You meet challenges and manage stress in your life in a far more positive fashion.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
And you end up with a peace of mind.
Also in that equation, you become an influencer, because other people will see your success in your being you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's critical, because your circle of friends changes. It's defined by, you know, who you are and what you accept. And perhaps in that circle, there are some people that you need to divest of, because their mantra is not yours.
Well, then you cancel.
Yeah, we cancel. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I think the idea that I would have to work on is to bring more positivity into my realm, my sphere of activities.
Your center of influence.
Well, yeah, that's a good phrase. And that's what I hope to work on.
Well, I would encourage people who are watching this to replay it if this has meant something to you, and jot down some things, because the major types of well-being may apply to you. Maybe 2 or 3 will, maybe none. But it's emotional well-being, physical well-being, social well-being, workplace well-being, if you work or even volunteer,
Right.
and societal well-being, how we participate in a thriving cultural community. So take a look at it again if it spurs your interest.
That's a good idea.
That's a good summary. And I will tell you that, you know, we're in a perfect opportunity here to thrive if we choose to do so.
Yeah.
You know, and many people that I've run across are choosing not to. They don't interact with people. They are, in my view, not very happy people. And maybe they're not happy because they've got some real physical problems.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Meet that challenge and see what you can do to improve your own sense of well-being and comfort.
Maybe take a trip. Maybe, you know, changing your environment. You know, there are things that people can do to become happier people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's up to us to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll sum it up in my view. I think it's just what Aristotle said. You need to strive to be the best version of yourself.
I like that.
And didn't know I could pronounce Aristotle, did you?
You did well. Twice.
Yeah. And if you can do that, if you can do that, the process is part of the cure. In other words, going through the mental situation of realizing that you need to work on these areas, then establishing the process, the habit, and moving on. And that's part of the sense of well-being in itself, is that you're acting.
Absolutely.
So
I know for a fact that 2022 is going to be a wonderful year, and I'm going to make it happen.
okay.
Optimistic, yes.
Optimistic.
I am too. We have to be.
Well, I'm going to learn a new skill. Tact.
Better karaoke.
A better karaoke singer. I might even practice. But I have several goals. I've set goals, which I hope to achieve. I hope to enjoy the process of doing that. Some of them involve writing. Some of them involve other things. But I need to do it, and need to work on the fact that if I'm reluctant to do something, is it because I'm just too damn lazy? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's an
Well,
confession.
let's wrap this up. This has been a good discussion, but I think 2022 is the year of well-being. And Tina, you summed it up a little bit earlier, and sort of sum it up again.
Make it happen, do it right, and do it for you.
Margie, anything to add?
Just keep looking up, have faith in yourself, and make a change. And don't make a resolution this year. Make a list of how you're going to improve your well-being.
Okay. Well, we hope to get some feedback from our viewers on this topic because it's an important one for all of us. But in the meantime, we'll just close and we'll look forward to seeing you when we again shoot the breeze.